Acquit. The word acquit means to declare someone innocent of a crime or wrongdoing. After enduring a trial that lasted almost 3 years, the defendant was finally acquitted of all charges and declared an innocent man. The defendant was finally acquitted of all charges. Almost as happy as the innocent man was his lawyer, who had worked very hard on the case. On the courthouse steps, the two men shook hands, pleased that the jury had acquitted the defendant. Acquit. To absolve. To absolve. To exonerate. Aura. The word aura means a distinctive but intangible quality that seems to surround a person or thing. There was an aura of mystery surrounding the new kid at school. She took a taxi to school every morning. No one had ever met her parents, but there were rumors that they were famous actors. In the halls at school, she wore sunglasses and a hat, as if she didn't want anyone to recognize her. Aura. Atmosphere. Quality. Beneficent. The word beneficent is used to describe someone who performs acts of kindness or charity. Robin Hood was a beneficent thief. He never kept the things he stole for himself. He stole from the rich and gave poor people the things that would benefit them most: food for the hungry, blankets for the cold, and medicine for the sick. If you want to help people, there are many beneficent organizations, like the Red Cross, which can always use volunteers or donations. Beneficent. Charitable. Kind. Bigot. The word bigot describes a person who is prejudiced and intolerant of those whose beliefs contradict his own. Bill was convinced that half the people in town were stupid and didn't have any idea what they were talking about. He didn't want to hear a single word they had to say to him, so when he went into the part of town where they lived, he stuffed cotton into his ears. He got so angry whenever he saw them in the street that he decided to blindfold himself too. Everyone knew he was an irrational bigot, so no one even tried to reason with him. Bigot. Fanatic. Zealot. Compress. The word compress means to make something more compact, so that it takes up less time or space. In order to compress an entire week's worth of English classes into the day before winter break, Mrs. Jones realized she would either have to give the lesson at warp speed or leave out a lot of the material. She decided to talk fast. Compress. To compact. To pack. Confront. The word confront means to face, especially in challenge. Roger was always the smallest kid in class, and he was used to being picked on at school. But after an unexpected growth spurt, he decided it was time to be brave and confront the biggest bully in school face to face. Roger said to him, "Meet me out front after school. I've got something I want to say to you." Confront. To face. To oppose. Constrain. The word constrain means to restrict severely, to prevent. Most artists would agree that coloring books constrain a child's creativity. Instead of offering children a blank page to fill with their own original visions, coloring books control the imagination and train children to color inside the lines. Since the houses in this neighborhood are built together so closely, and parents were concerned about balls breaking windows, they constrained their children from playing softball in the street. Constrain. To limit. To restrict. Contrive. The word contrive means to plan with cleverness or ingenuity. The beekeeper contrived to harvest honey from his bees without getting stung, so he devised a scheme. He built a brand new beehive in the center of a garden filled with blooming flowers and waited for all the bees to relocate to the new hive. When the old hive was empty, he collected the honey without a single sting. Contrive, to plot, to devise. Deem. The word deem means to have an opinion, to judge. Not everybody goes around declaring their opinions all the time, but if you decide that something seems unfair, you should tell people you deem it unfair. Say it out loud. People should speak up for what they believe in. Deem, to judge, to suppose, to believe. Depict. The word depict means to represent by a picture or to describe in words. The famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River depicts our nation's first president standing at the front of a tiny boat while his soldiers paddle through rapid waters. The painter picked that pose for Washington because it made him look like a noble leader. But anyone who's ever paddled a boat across a fast river knows that if Washington really stood like that, he would have likely tipped over the boat and fallen into the water. A good writer is able to depict scenes accurately by using the right words. Depict, to portray, to represent, to describe. Designate. The word designate means to indicate someone or something for a specific purpose. 8 students showed up at school on Saturday to wash cars as a fundraiser for their class trip. Their teacher felt Jake was the most wild, energetic, attention-loving student in the class. So instead of trusting him with a scrub brush, the teacher decided to designate him for roadside promotion. Designate, to appoint, to assign, to indicate. Disinterested. The word disinterested means indifferent or unconcerned. The man hoped his family would be excited to attend the Super Bowl, but they were all disinterested in sports. The man hardly took his eyes off the field and jumped up cheering at every touchdown. His family, on the other hand, just sat there doing other things while they waited for the game to end. Disinterested, indifferent, apathetic, detached. Dispassionate. The word dispassionate means devoid of passion, emotion, or bias. After presentation of the evidence and listening to both sides of the argument, the judge prepared a dispassionate ruling on the case. The man on trial leaped up, shouting with joy when the judge ruled in his favor. But the judge remained calm and tapped his gavel to restore order. It's a good idea to remain dispassionate when listening to political candidates debate the issues so that one can make an informed decision. Dispassionate, unbiased, impartial. Dispatch. The word dispatch means to send off someone or something promptly. The general dispatched one of his soldiers from the battlefield to carry a package back to the army base. The soldier ran as fast as he could, assured that he was traveling on important business. Dispatch, to send off, to transmit. Diversity. The word diversity means variety. Nowhere on earth is there a greater diversity of marine life than on the bottom of the ocean. Divers who venture to the bottom of the sea find some of the strangest creatures imaginable. The ocean floor is like an alien city built out of sponges, rocks, and coral reefs. There are so many different kinds of seaweed, fish, eels, mollusks, and tiny microscopic single-celled organisms that deep-sea divers are continually discovering new species. Diversity, variety, assortment. Douse. The word douse means to wet thoroughly or drench. When they arrived at the scene of the house fire, the firefighters immediately hooked up their hoses to the fire hydrants and doused the house with water. In no time, the house was drenched and the fire was out. Douse, to drench, to soak. Enjoin. The word enjoin means to urge strongly or to order someone to do something. The captain enjoined his men to prepare the ship for landing and join him in a song. He knew the sailors did a better job of following orders when they sang because it helped them work together and put them in a good mood. Enjoin. Urge strongly. To command. Expressly. The word expressly means plainly, explicitly, or unmistakably. Unless students are expressly given permission from their parents, they are not allowed to leave school to go to a field trip. It's not enough for parents to give permission verbally. They must sign a permission slip so that the school can be sure parents have expressed their consent. Although his mother expressly told the children not to play baseball too near the windows, they did anyway, and of course someone hit the ball through a window and broke it. Expressly. Plainly, explicitly, unmistakably. Forsake. The word forsake means to abandon or give something up. Practicing civil disobedience allows people to protest injustice in a peaceful manner. During a hunger strike, protesters forsake food and drink. However much they might wish to eat, they abstain for the sake of drawing attention to their cause and communicating their commitment to change. Forsake. To give up, to abandon, to forego. Gainful. The word gainful means profitable, providing a gain. The young man earned his keep at the inn by cleaning rooms, but he was tired of breaking even and never having any extra money. So one day he left the inn and went off in search of gainful employment, hoping to find a job that would allow him to save up some money. What would he spend his money on? He was full of ideas. Gainful, profitable, lucrative. Generate. The word generate means to bring into existence. The best way to generate ideas is to sit down and brainstorm. Be generous with your thoughts. Welcome every thought that comes into your head and write them all down. That way, you'll be able to look back at all the ideas you came up with. Most of the ideas won't end up being that important, but you might find one or two that generate great excitement. Generate. To create. To make. Global. The word global means worldwide or universal. The Internet is a global system of interconnected computer networks. It is called the World Wide Web because people all over the globe can access the Internet through their computers. Global. Worldwide. Universal. Groundless. The word groundless means unsubstantiated, having no basis or foundation. When the mayor was charged with using taxpayer money to build himself a new house, he denied it was true. "These accusations are groundless," the mayor said. "There's no proof." Groundless. Unsubstantiated, unfounded. Hypocrite. The word hypocrite refers to someone who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. The hippopotamus was always criticizing the other animals for eating the fish in the river. But as soon as he got hungry, he would dive underwater and eat as many fish as he could catch. That hippo was a total hypocrite. Hypocrite. Phony. Dissembler. Idolize. The word idolize means to love or admire too much. Some people idolize their favorite musicians. It's not just that they love the music and the musician, they absolutely worship them. They play their favorite songs over and over again. They would give anything to see the singer in person. Anything. Idolize. To worship. To exalt. To glorify. Illusion. The word illusion means a false perception of reality. I'm always amazed by the illusions performed by professional magicians. Yesterday we watched a magician first levitate his assistant, then he raised a cloth and made her disappear. After a few minutes, he pointed at the audience and said, "There she is," as she stood up in a row in the middle of the theater. We were all impressed by the successful illusion and clapped enthusiastically. Illusion. Semblance. Appearance. Incomprehensible. The word incomprehensible means unintelligible, impossible to understand. The pilot tried to contact air traffic control when the engine of his plane stopped working, but the radio was malfunctioning too. On the other end of the radio, they could hear only static and incomplete sentences. His call for help was completely incomprehensible. Because I didn't know any Spanish, I found the conversation between my Hispanic neighbors incomprehensible. Incomprehensible, unintelligible, incoherent, indecipherable. Ingenious. The word ingenious means skillful or clever. People thought Aladdin was ingenious for finding a genie to grant him any 3 wishes he wanted. But the truth was that Aladdin discovered the genie completely by accident. Still, Aladdin had to be very clever about choosing what to wish for, since he only had 3 chances. Ingenious, clever, cunning. Instantaneous. The word instantaneous means immediate, occurring without delay. Some poisonous snakes have venom so deadly that the instant they sink their fangs into their prey, the unfortunate animals meet an instantaneous death. Instantaneous. Immediate, fast, quick, prompt. Irk. The word irk means to irritate or annoy. Nothing irks a shark like a lifeguard blowing his whistle. People run screaming out of the water for the safety of their beach blankets, and suddenly the ocean is empty of tasty swimmers. Irk. To irritate, to annoy, to bother. Manipulate. The word manipulate means to manage skillfully, often with the intent to deceive. Because she slept in 10 minutes past her alarm every day during the first week of school, Tiffany was always late. In order to nip her daughter's lateness in the bud, Tiffany's mother decided to manipulate her behavior by turning back her alarm clock by 1 hour. The next day, Tiffany was the first one at school. Skillful handwork, like repairing clocks and watches, usually involves manipulating very small and intricate parts. Manipulate. To manage, to handle, to influence. Millennium. The word millennium means a span of 1,000 years. Some speculate that 1,000 years from now, technology will be so advanced that it will lead to widespread prosperity. They believe that everyone will be millionaires, live in mansions, and drive flying cars. It seems unlikely, but then again you never know. A millennium is a long time. Millennium. Span of 1,000 years. Misgiving. The word misgiving means a feeling of doubt, distrust, or apprehension. The patient had some misgivings about her new dentist when she saw the other patients leaving his office. But when she learned the dentist's name was Dr. Payne, she canceled her appointment immediately. Misgiving, doubt, distrust, apprehension. Motivate. The word motivate means to provide with an incentive, to move someone to action. After losing 10 games in a row, the high school basketball players were beginning to believe that it would be impossible for them to win even one game. When the coach heard his best player was thinking of quitting, he knew he had to find a way to motivate the team so that they would play their best. Motivate, to inspire, to impel. Nominal. The word nominal means existing in name only or insignificantly small. Nominally, Joe was the vice president of the company, but everyone knew he didn't do any work. His parents got him the job so he wouldn't sit around at home all day, but since Joe was already incredibly wealthy, they paid him only a nominal sum of money. Nominal, in name only, insignificant, trifling. Occult. The word occult means relating to supernatural, mystical, or magical powers or phenomena. The occult powers of a fortune teller enable her to see into the future. Since this fortune teller knew that a man with a magic wand would come to have his palm read, she didn't bother to take her glasses in for repair. Occult, supernatural, mystical, magical. Petty. The word petty describes something that has little or no meaning or importance. People think it's petty to worry about being too short or too tall. But when you're in middle school, standing out from the crowd certainly seems like a big deal. No one wants to be singled out. Petty, insignificant, trivial, minor. Precipitate. The word precipitate means to cause to happen, especially suddenly or prematurely. The flash flood that devastated the small town along the river was precipitated by a sudden downpour. 13 inches of rain fell in just a matter of hours, causing the river to overrun its banks. Precipitate, to effect, to produce. Recede. The word recede means to move back or to become more distant. As the parade left the memorial site and rounded the corner onto Main Street, a few remaining veterans and their families listened to the sounds of the marching band recede into the distance until they could hear nothing but the sound of the wind in the trees. Recede, to draw back, to pull away, to retreat. Restrict. The word restrict means to keep or confine within limits. The adults in the famous novel Oliver Twist are cruel and strict. They force the orphans to spend their days toiling in a dangerous workhouse, and they restrict them to a simple diet of gruel. Gruel is like a thin, soupy oatmeal, and it is the cheapest slop money can buy. Restrict, to curtail, to curb, to cut back. Revocation. The word revocation means withdrawal or cancellation. If you don't follow the rules and policies of the library, it may lead to the revocation of your library card. You can try to reason with the librarian. You can vocalize your protest all you like. But if you don't return your library books and pay your fines when the books are overdue, the library will definitely revoke your borrowing privileges. Revocation. Withdrawal, cancellation, reversal. Ruffle. The word ruffle means to disturb the smoothness of something, to upset someone's feelings. All the feathers on a bird's wings lie flat and smooth like the wings of an airplane, helping the bird to glide smoothly through the air as it flies. When a person doesn't want you to upset someone, they say, "Don't ruffle his feathers," because if you ruffled the feathers of a bird, they would stand on end or face in all different directions, ruining the bird's aerodynamics and making a smooth glide through the air quite difficult. Ruffle, to trouble, to disturb. Serene. The word serene means calm, undisturbed, peaceful. The summer day was totally serene. A clear blue sky, a light breeze through the trees, and not a sound within a mile of the empty school building. The school janitor lay down for a nap in the middle of the hallway. The school would be totally clean and serene until September, when the students returned. Serene, peaceful, calm. Sheepish. The word sheepish means being meek, shy, or embarrassed, especially about a fault or mistake being discovered. While walking through his fields, the farmer found a large hole that had been dug underneath his fence. The farmer was angry and confronted his faithful dog. "Bad dog! You dug that hole, didn't you?" The dog hung his head in shame, a sheepish expression on his face. He knew he'd done something wrong and expected to be punished for it. Sheepish. Meek, shy, abashed, embarrassed. Squeamish. The word squeamish means easily shocked or disgusted. When the biology teacher told her class they would be dissecting frogs, her students squirmed uncomfortably in their seats. One student squeezed his eyes shut and asked if he could go to the nurse. He was too squeamish to hear another word about dissection. Squeamish. Queasy, delicate, nauseous. Stamina. The word stamina means endurance. In the fable of the tortoise and the hare is so confident he will win the race against the tortoise that he sprints ahead at an impressive speed and takes a nap halfway through the race. Despite the fact that the tortoise is slow, he shows stamina and endurance by moving along at a steady pace without resting. Stamina helps him stay in the race and win. Stamina, endurance, vigor. Straight-laced. The word straight-laced means excessively strict in behavior, morality, or opinions. The referee ironed his striped uniform before every game. He pulled the laces of his shoes as tight as possible and always tied them in a double knot. He never took the whistle out of his mouth, and he called twice as many fouls as any other referee. Even the coaches thought he was a little too straight-laced. Straight-laced. Strict. Uptight. Vocation. The word vocation means occupation or the work a person does regularly, primarily work for which someone is particularly suited. The teacher was glad he had been hired by the local elementary school so he could pursue his vocation of working with younger children. He particularly enjoyed helping them learn to read and sharing some of his favorite children's authors with them. He truly was able to make his vocation his life's work. Vocation, preferred occupation, job, career. Vow. The word vow means a solemn promise, an oath. After the cow saved the farmer's life, the farmer vowed never to eat meat again. He looked the cow in the eye and said, "From now on, I vow to be a vegetarian. I give you my word." To show the cow that he was serious, the farmer gave the cow her own bedroom and let her live in his house. He served her hay at the table Andy let her wander the fields whenever she liked. He was true to his vow and never ate mean again. Vow: pledge, assurance, promise.